All right, let's get started. Thomas, Pete, thank you very much for joining me today. There's supposed to be a few more people to join us, but we'll go ahead and get started. So this is an introduction to WordPress. My name is Patrick Villanueva, and I'm one of the Media Lab assistants at the Lake Forest Library. I'm currently working remotely. So before I begin, there are a few housekeeping notes that need to be shared. Looks like you've gone ahead and done that. From turning off your cameras to muting your microphones. While there will be a Q&A session at the end, please feel free to use the chat. Pete, looks like you know how to use that. Thomas, you can go ahead and check that out. It's that button with the lines in it, the kind of conversation button there on the toolbar. You can see the conversation going on there. Awesome, perfect. You both know what you're doing. That's excellent. Yeah, feel free to type in any questions in the chat box and I will get around to them. I should note that this is being recorded and this will be available to all of you after the program. That means you'll be included in the recording if you have any questions later on, especially if you are speaking or you turn on your camera. Yeah, it should be not long. It should be accessible not long after our session is completed. It should take an hour tops. So without further ado, I wanted to give a brief overview of what we'll be doing in the next hour. And it doesn't look like anyone else is joining us. So let's get started. So what is WordPress? Well, these are the things that I'll be addressing. What is WordPress? Why WordPress? Creating a WordPress account on WordPress.com. Oh, and Christian is joining us. Hold on. Hold on for a second. Hi, Christian. Thank you for joining us. We're just kind of going through some housekeeping things. I just wanted to mention that this is a recording, and so you know, if you have any questions or something later on, you'll be in the recording itself. If you could go ahead and turn off your camera as well as mute your microphone, that would be great, so that we can focus in on the presentation itself. And then the camera itself, fantastic. Thank you very much for doing that, Christian. And we'll continue to talk about this. How would it be accessible? Let me get to that in a second. So, Christian, just backing up a little bit for you, this is our agenda. I'll be talking about what WordPress is, why to use WordPress rather, how to open a WordPress.com account. I'll be going over the basics of WordPress publishing, such as creating a blog post, creating a page, uploading images, and adding YouTube videos or your own. And I'll be getting into some of the formats that are more compatible. Then I'll be going through some resources to note down and have a question and answer session for you later, as well as closing thoughts. So what is WordPress? WordPress is a program that helps you publish writing on the internet. It's loaded with powerful features out of the box, and this class is about getting started with the basics. Not all features will be explored, and just wanted to mention that. It was started by a web developer named Matt Mullenweg, who I had the privilege of meeting many years ago. If memory serves me correctly, he adapted some new features into a previous software that turned into WordPress. So according to WordPress.org, which is the official documentation, they define it as open source software you can use to create a beautiful website, blog, or app. Before it was specifically known for blogging, a term used for online journaling. The word blog is a shortened version of the word weblog, which clarifies its origin. There have been a number of competitors over the years, such as TextPattern, but in the end, WordPress emerged as the de facto standard for blogging. WordPress has evolved with the times and the platform is expanded. In the early days of WordPress, I've hacked the program to be more of a content management system, or CMS for short. But I've hacked to help with maintaining websites a lot easier, and a lot of my clients have been really pleased with how easy it is to use. Believe me, this has been a huge game changer for web design as an industry. And I shouldn't forget, you can create an app with WordPress, but it may be overkill. It is possible though, and it's a place to get started. So if that sparks your interest, I'll address that in a bit. So why WordPress? Well, you can have your very own website presence on the web, which is always nice. I mean, it's, have a personal thing going on there. It powers about 30% of websites on the interwebs, according to VentureBeat, and that's a huge market. A quick Google search tells me there's about 2 billion websites total, so that means there are 600 million WordPress-powered websites. It's open source, meaning that it's free to use, free to install on your server, if applicable, and you're free to customize your WordPress website to your heart's content. It's also easy to use. You can get up and running in a matter of seconds, and you don't have to know any web design. You can pick a pre-configured design, otherwise known as themes. But I wasn't kidding about, get it up and running in a matter of seconds. It's literally takes less than 10 seconds to install on a web server if you have it configured correctly. It's very powerful. It has powerful features out of the box. And let me move forward. It definitely has a robust ecosystem, and it is open source, so there isn't any kind of like dedicated help, but you can find a lot of people that are helpful from the community, whether you Google or visit the website, the documentation on website WordPress.org, and you can discover that there is a kind of like a forum of sorts to find people and find answers to what you may be wondering about. So you can actually integrate e-commerce into WordPress and do that for free, which is mind-blowing to some degree. So this definitely has a lot of features, and this only begins to address what it really can do. Big names that use WordPress include The New Yorker, Time Inc., Rolling Stones, Bloomberg, BBC News, Reuters, Sony Music, Disney. You have the artist Beyonce and Snoop Dogg, even Facebook at times. Not the big website, but I believe they have like a side thing going on, and the big tech forum, essentially TechCrunch, all using WordPress. So I just wanted to mention a little bit about my experience. I've personally been using WordPress since 2006, so it's been a very long time. I've long mastered the platform, I think, for the most part, and have customized it for plenty of clients, namely for a workplace called Blueprint Design Studio, which was recognized in a book called WordPress for Dummies many, many years ago. Of the many roles I've had as a professional, I'm a full-fledged graphic designer and web developer, and have a pretty strong command of this all. So if you have any questions, whether during this class or any time later, you're more than welcome to reach out at our email. I'd be more than happy to provide some level of guidance, and it's something that I've long done as a creative person. Make no mistake, you can create an app from WordPress, but that is beyond the scope of an introductory course, not to mention within our limited time here. But just so you know, you can hack it to your heart's content and customize it as you wish. Think potential, but not restriction. It becomes easier as you know the fundamentals of web design, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It would be a bonus if you know the language behind it all, which is PHP, but it's definitely not required. When you know the ins and outs of the system, you can do some pretty cool things. And if you'd like to go further into WordPress development or talk WordPress development, again, you're free to ask me any questions, whether it be after this presentation or going into the future. We're available at the Media Lab, and that is our job. So again, you're more than welcome. So let's get started with WordPress. You can visit WordPress.com and make a free account, but let's kind of get into it a little bit. Where did that go? Hold on for a second. Let me pull this up. I think it's this. Okay, fantastic. So this is the WordPress interface, or WordPress.com interface, and it's a little bit different than what the standard WordPress installation is on a server. But you can go through the process, put in your email, type in your password or your preferred password, and you can get started. So essentially, this is starting a new site from scratch, which I've done a few months ago, and I didn't necessarily go through the entire process. So I'm going to go through that process with all of you right now. So essentially, again, when you log in, you will see this setup, and you can start by following their guidelines. Name your site. So in this case, this has some recommendations, that kind of thing, which is nice. It's a kind of a user interface, nice thing. And then you can save settings after that, which makes sense. But I'm going to go ahead and name the site. And it is giving me trouble. I'm going to go ahead and just rename it. Media Lab at Lake Forest. We do technology things as a tagline, and I believe it shows up in some kind of sub data thing connected with the website page itself. So let's go ahead and say all done and continue. Save settings, return to your home. So as you see, it'll take you through this process of setting up your website. Create a site menu. We don't have anything right now, so we can just skip that for now. Update your home page, which again, this is a brand new page, so we don't have to do anything with that. Let's just go ahead and see what they are talking about though. So essentially they have a templated theme or templated content to get you started, and we don't need to do anything with that. So let's go back. So launch your site, and that's what I'm about to do. So give your website an address. And so essentially, we are given a subdomain for WordPress.com. And you can go ahead and choose that. If you see here, I have the username LF Media Lab. And this is, crap. Sorry about that. You can just select that. And then it looks like it's trying to encourage you to spend some money, of course, but you can just go ahead with a free site by clicking on this link above. So there you go. That's how to get started with WordPress.com. With the other setups, it's a little bit more streamlined, and you can get going pretty easily. So let's see here. It tells you that we launched our site. Fantastic. Skip site setup. And it has a pretty much menu that is spanned throughout this page, but we don't need to necessarily do that right now. We just want to do some of the most basic stuff. So let's switch back here. And we hit no. So I'm going to follow this model where we are integrating a blog and integrating a page like about and contact us. And if we have some time, we'll kind of mess around with the home page, which by default, it technically showcases some of your posts that you've written and shows a little bit of the excerpts, but you can completely customize it, and that's something we can explore in a bit. So getting started with creating a post. This is definitely the guts of what this course is really about, and let's just kind of go through the exercise. Sorry about that. So here we are, we're back in WordPress.com. And we already went through some of these. Let me check my notes. So the most fundamental thing about WordPress is creating a blog post. You can think of it as a journal entry in a blog, but with the option for visitors to comment. There are a number of ways to create a new post, and let's go through those. So right up top, you can see here the white button says write. It's pretty much all you got to do to get to the create a post. So let's say we're just writing a fake post, and I'll say my first WordPress post. So this is the title. Just want to show that it helps you kind of write the whole thing. So add a title here, and then you can start writing in the main area where it says start writing your first post here. And I am just going to copy some text. Let me go ahead and do that. There is a website called, and this is a web designer's kind of thing, where we put in dummy text. It's called Lipsum, Lorem Ipsum. It's just like dummy Latin. So I'm just going to choose 5 and copy this text. Go back and you can go ahead and paste it. So one of the nice things, or one of the best practices actually when you're writing things, is to write it out on some kind of word processing app, such as Google Docs or Microsoft Word. So you can actually iron out your thoughts instead of kind of going through the development or going through the writing process on WordPress itself. But that's just a preference. You can actually save previews or save drafts as you're writing as well. But I tend to like to write out my articles first and then cut and paste. So as you see, it's separated into paragraphs nicely, which is a good thing. And this kind of mirrors on the actual website, but let me kind of get into some of the features here. So this toolbar above the paragraph highlighted is essentially kind of like a Microsoft Word toolbar that's kind of described to be what you see is what you get. So you can see here that there's this paragraph thing, which technically is what the this writing is, but then if you look, you can kind of format differently, such as it being a heading, or being a list of items, or it being a quote. I'm not sure what this group thing, these are newer features, and this pre-formatted thing, I've never really bothered with that. Verse, I believe, is some kind of, I think it might be either writing excerpt, or I'm gonna have to look that up too. But let's kind of see what this is. I chose verse, which kind of, oh, there you go, poetry, using special spacing formats, which is cool. So I guess you can format, song lyrics in this way too. So, but this is just a paragraph, so let's just format to be a paragraph. And then I want to show this as an example. Let's say that this is a subheader. And so we are going to choose this as a heading. And then you can see that this box changed here and it says H2, and you have the different hierarchies of the different headers from H2, H3 down to H6. And if you didn't know some web design, the bigger or the most important header is H1, and it goes down the hierarchy to H6. So it's just something to keep in mind. Usually I like to do subheaders a little bit less than H2, especially if they're formatted this way, because you can't necessarily tell the difference between what I believe is H1 up here, which is usually your title, and the subheader here. And so let's kind of make that a little bit more pronounced, which that looks good. So let's move on with that. This thing here is what you think it is. It's the alignment of text, and you can change it from aligning text on the left, center, and right, depending on your preferences. But you can just leave it aligned to the left as as default. This is a bold. This enables the bold feature for words, that kind of thing. Let's say that we would just want to bold that, and does it as you would expect. Let's say we want to italicize this sentence here, so that's what that does. And there are shortcuts as well, if you know them. They're what you'd expect them to be, such as, I believe in PC it would be Control B and then Control I for italics. For Mac it's Command B and Command I. And then this thing here, which is a kind of like a newer notation of link or hyperlinks. Yeah, you can just select your keywords that you want to attach a link to. So let's just say that you want those words to go to Google, and just press enter. Or yeah, that's it. And that should be connected to your hyperlink. There are more features here. The justify, I don't understand why that's not under the other alignments, but that's how they organized it. Strike through is what you think it is. Subscript and superscript, pretty self-explanatory. Text color, again, self-explanatory. Underline and uppercase. So these are all just text formatting kind of things. These I don't necessarily want to get into. This is probably connected with the newer text editor that was released just the other year. And in all honesty, this is kind of more web design-ish things as opposed to content creation. So I'm going to skip this. So as you see here, I have my 5 paragraphs. And let's kind of take a look over to the right. Let me double check if there's any questions. Are there any questions right now? I see, Thomas, you asked about how would it be accessible technically through, in this case, WordPress.com. But you can, if you have a web server such as GoDaddy or things like Bluehost, which I've used in the past. Mine is actually a subsidiary of Bluehost called HostMonster. They usually have installation or WordPress installations that you can activate, and it would install literally within seconds. So it's nothing that you necessarily have to host yourself, maybe on your computer, that kind of thing. And I've seen it done, but that's for more advanced users, and I definitely don't recommend it if you're just starting out. So yeah, either through your web server or start an account on WordPress.com, which I definitely recommend just when you're starting out. So let's go to the right-hand side here and check out what this is all about. You can see that this is a separate block, and you can technically format this as one chunk. So if I were to I choose the small, it would apply just to this particular paragraph. So as you see, it made the change, but I just kind of want to point that out as opposed to actually do that. So when I choose default, it goes back to normal. And it didn't do that because these are all considered blocks by itself. And that's a little bit of a newer thing with the text editor and is more along the lines of web design again. And yeah, that's probably for further discussion some other time. Line height, I should just note this. That's the spacing between each of the lines. If you want to make it less, you can see how it's decreasing and compressing, but let's just keep it consistent. Color settings, well, again, you can change your colors. So let's, you know what, let's just choose blue for the first paragraph. And you see how it did it in real time, which is pretty cool. Background color, I don't necessarily use this, but it is possible to do that for these things. You know what, let's choose gray. Why not? So further down, you have a text setting with drop cap, and this is definitely on the newer side. I haven't really used this, but I believe it would make the L, the first letter in the paragraph, a drop cap, and there you go. Automatically fit text to container amp settings. I haven't really done this either, but I'll go ahead and skip that. In advanced, it looks like if you are dealing with a CSS class, you can type in its name and it will apply accordingly. So let's go ahead and publish this, or let's see what this document thing is. Oh, here it is. You can choose a little bit more options for your post. Here with visibility, you can make it public, or you can make it just private to, according to this description, site admins and editors. So kind of confined within the login system. Or you could have it password protected. So if you have a post that's published and you only want to share it with a few people that are not part of the admin, then you can assign a password, and you can share that password with that person when you publish. So you can technically publish this at a specific time, or you can choose a date from the past if you want, which would mean that it would publish immediately. But if you wanted to change something and assign a previous date, you can go ahead and do that with that. But I'm going to go ahead and publish this right now. But let's say that I wanted to publish it, on Saturday. That's July 10. So you would choose the 10. Or not 10, 12 rather. No, it is. No, it's 11. Sorry. So that's what you do. But I want to publish this immediately. Stick to the top of the blog. This is when you have multiple posts. Pending review is probably more involved with editors of your website, but I'm not going to go in there. Permalink is part of your URL. So in this case, it hyphenated essentially my title, my first WordPress post, but technically you can change that. So you can just say, let's call it WordPress demo. And then as you see down here, it changed the URL, and it has your the year and the date that it publishes. And that's one of the things that is specific to creating a post. Categories, well, this is, what did I write about categories? Categories are ways to organize your posts. So for example, let's say you wrote about all things sports, and you write about the different NBA teams. You may include the basketball category, and but you can also include categories for all of the teams. I believe they're, what, 30 now? So you can do that. In our case here, we're just, I'm going to say thoughts and then add new category. And you see how it automatically chose that, and that's what we're going to do. So tags is technically like hashtags. So if you have anything related to, or if you have a word related to the post itself, in the last example, I said basketball, you can put basketball, you can put LeBron, you can put Jordan, that kind of thing. Go crazy. There's no limits to tags, but you probably should kind of keep it to a minimum, because this all helps with searchability in the long run, and that's definitely something to look into, but it's a completely different topic altogether. So featured image here is like a thumbnail that gets integrated into a theme. Not all themes use thumbnails, but this is exactly where you put that. So what you do is set featured image and put in, whatever. So let's just choose this. This was the default that came with WordPress.com. Excerpt is kind of like, again, what is previewed on a home page or something, or on the main page. It doesn't necessarily have to be the home page, but for the most part it is. And I'm not going to fill that out. And discussion, this is where a lot of the power is. You definitely want to allow comments on posts. And I haven't really dealt with pingbacks and trackbacks in a while, but they definitely help with certain things, but that's another discussion as well. So that is pretty much it for a post, and let's go ahead and publish this. Are you ready to publish? Yes. So let's, you can see here that we see the actual URL. So let's go ahead and just view the post. And there you go. And it looks like it integrated the thumbnail as more of a banner image. And you see that it carried over a lot of the formatting and included the subhead and my bold word and my italicized word, as well as the link. And it should open up Google. So there you go. So essentially that is how to start writing in a post. And I wanted to get into a little bit of integrating images as well. So you see how we integrated this thumbnail, which turned into a banner image, which banner image is actually this big image, kind of feature image of a post. So let's go ahead and go back. Oh my gosh, already 5:30. Okay. I'm going to find a picture. Pixels. No, let's go to Burst. Burst. So this is a free image site from Shopify, which I tend to use a lot. And let's go ahead with, I don't know, products. So I am going to just choose one of these, and just for example purposes, and wants me to write my email, but I'm not going to do that. So let's just do that. So let's integrate an image. So how you do that is essentially, it's not there. I believe it's through one of these. So yeah, technically when you add something, it becomes a block, whether it be a paragraph or a header. And you can see that these blocks, there's a number of different ones, and you can explore that at another time. And this goes into more detail, which is pretty amazing. But if you're really not familiar with some of these web design terms. I definitely don't recommend exploring that initially. So we are just inserting an image. So what you do is click on the plus, click on the image button, and we do not have that image in our library yet. So you click on upload, and we are choosing wristwatches. And that's essentially it. Let's see if there's anything we can do. You can align left, or you can mess around with these settings, and you can kind of figure that out a little bit. I believe if you, I forget exactly how you embed this in line, but it looks like it just inserted this as, you can even kind of crop it, which is kind of nice. But we're not going to do that right now. I swear I saw the inline image. Here you go. So if you were to put this next to a paragraph or something, you would choose this inline image here. And I'm not sure why we didn't see that before, but there it is. So again, this is how to insert an image, and let's go ahead and update. And let's view our post. And as you can see, the image is there. So there are a number of resources where you can get free imagery from that website that I just showed, Burst. There's some other ones like Pexels and StockVault and Pixabay, but I guess I can include that in later on or something. So let's move on. How to integrate video. Here's the thing about video. I don't recommend actually uploading videos to WordPress because it's a pain. For as long as I can remember, I've always had those problems, and from converting them to supposedly what is compatible, and it would still give me errors. So I definitely don't recommend doing your own uploads. But since YouTube came along, that's pretty much the recommendation, because they take care of the compression, they take care of the formatting, and they give you an embed code. And it's literally been a game changer. So I would say upload your video to YouTube and copy what's there inside the embed code, and copy it into WordPress. And if you're not okay with the larger YouTube audience, the workaround is to set the video to private, and it still allows you to embed the video as needed. So let's go through an example. So I'm going to go to Lake Forest Library. Lake Forest Library. And let's say we want to embed this particular video, which is a presentation from my colleague, Michelle. So all you have to do is essentially, where is that? Yeah. Translations, did they disable embedding? I do not know where it went. Usually you'll be able to see an embed code, but let's kind of look into something else.
I think it's under the share under embed, the first section, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Who was that? Christian, was that you? Thanks for that.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, there's your embed code. My bad. And so what you want to do when you embed your video is copy that code. And you want to edit. And I forget exactly where. Well, because we're doing it in block format now, what you want to do is click on this block and click on code and paste in what you just pasted or copied. And oh wait, I think that's actually formatting it to show code. Let me make sure. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and delete that because that is incorrect. Remove block. There you go. So insert from URL, choose the video block under media and paste in. Oh, crap. That's not right. I'm sorry. In this case, we can just choose the URL, I believe, and it should format accordingly. Yeah, there we go. So in the case of YouTube, we do not necessarily need to use the HTML. I forgot about this. I know that WordPress has evolved some of their features, and they definitely integrated some really smart features. So all you have to do is get your YouTube URL, and that's pretty much it. You can click on update, and you should be good to go. So let me see if there's anything here that I probably should address, but no, that's pretty much all you got to do, an update. So it looks like here, as you see, it already formatted, it already picked up that it was a YouTube URL, and that was pretty smart. Click on update. So view post. And your video is integrated. It's a really nice thing to do, or really nice feature that, you know, WordPress is integrated. So that's video. I should actually mention before I forget what you can do or what you can upload. Microsoft Teams. So let me go back to and just so you know this for later. These are the formats that WordPress technically can handle, but again, I definitely don't recommend this because it's just, I don't know, might be a waste of time. And you can easily embed these things with YouTube code and move on. So that's how to integrate code. Let's move on to the page. The only thing that differs from how a page differs from a post is the date that it's published. Usually with posts, they show the date that it was published, but for the most part, pages do not, but you could. And they accept comments as well, but yeah, no, pages are more for static purposes. So let's go ahead and do that. And so we're back here. Let's go back to our site. And looks like I believe you can click on write and it's back to a post. Here we go. Got it. Anyway, go back to your home page on WordPress.com and you will see the add a page. And that's how to add a page. So essentially the same rules apply here as the post. I'm just going to say blank layout and say my first, or about page rather. And then I'll just say the Media Lab does cool things. And I'll just leave that as that for now. And all you have to do is press publish. And same kind of settings, go for it. So we can view this page, and there you go, it's published. And apparently there is a social media share integration into this theme, so that's why that's there. But as you can see here, we have the title, we've got the title of the page itself, you have the subtitle of our blog, and some of the sections associated here with the menu to the right. So this is part of the theme, which I will get to in a second. I just kind of want to mention a little bit about comments, which I briefly touched on before, but let's go back to the blog. So this is our post from before. And these things down here is part of the theme, and the way this post is organized is that they have this comment box. And these are probably one of the most important things when you're doing blogging, because it establishes a tribe, as the marketing guru Seth Godin calls them. This is definitely a powerful thing, a powerful community once you get this established. And you definitely see a new world. So it's kind of a longer discussion, but just know that when you have people following you because of your content, your personality, and your brand, it really changes your status as a content creator. And it's pretty much next level. But let's go ahead and leave a reply saying, like, I like this post, and post comments. And there you go. It's formatted with the username and the message, and it looks like it's integrating some like features, that kind of thing. But you can see that the date and the time is stamped here too. But these are generally found at the end of post blogs, or blog posts rather. And yeah, it's just something to monitor. Let me see, what else did I have to say about that. Allows posts and pages to, posts and pages can accommodate comments, but you can disable them if you want. But seriously, no. Keep them enabled on posts, and start to build a community when you start doing blogs. When visitors comment, should just make this note that you want to address them. Be wary of what internet people call haters. Be wary of spam and bots. But keep your interactions authentic, and you don't want to keep people hanging when people leave comments. Just be nice and engage in healthy conversations. And if you weren't aware, yeah, the internet world is created more so for this purpose. So let's take a look at an example on my other website. So a little bit about me. I am an amateur DJ, and I've been running this blog for now how many years? So I just kind of want to get into the comments section. Let me show a post. Getting to the end here. Oh, that's a good one. So this post, let me show the actual post itself. So this is an old mix that I knew about, and there were people who stopped by to comment, and these were people who are really into this, and it was very personal to them. So they reached out and left comments and stuff. And what I did was, made sure that I engaged with them to, just for them to come back and to check it out or check out the website. And you can see that there are a number of, commenters, and they definitely know who I am now as a result of this. So I was really pleased. But when you do, again, have comments, get back to them when you can. All right, so we've got about 10 minutes left. Let me just briefly talk about themes and plugins. And let's go back to my website for plugins. Do you have any questions right now? Do people have to register before leaving a comment? That is a really good question. I think it is preferred. There are times where you can leave anonymous comments, but that was when I was doing that. Sometimes if you're logged in through other services, I forget exactly what that this commenting service was called, but usually they prefer that you are logged in, so that way people know who you are, that kind of thing. And it probably helps to build a little bit more of a community that way. So let's go to themes. Yeah, I did not want to do that. And it's under design here on the left-hand side of the home page, or your dashboard within WordPress, and you click on themes. So there's a number of free themes available, and you can see that there's a number of nice designs available, and these are all for free for the most part. There are premium themes which integrate kind of more advanced features, maybe things like, I don't know, carousel of images. I mean, this is just off the top of my head. Maybe it uses a specific functionality, and it's formatted to optimize those functionalities. But for the most part, these free themes are really good to just use and get started with. I mean, you take a look. I mean, they're really nice to look at, and they definitely put you into a more professional kind of alignment. So yeah, you can install themes, I understand, but this is with the upgraded version. And I think in terms of the plugins, which is a very big thing in WordPress, plugins are ways to extend functionality in WordPress. And unfortunately, with the free plan on WordPress.com, you can't install plugins. So I just kind of wanted to mention this a little bit. Let's switch over to my website under plugins. And so usually this is how it looks like, and you can see that there are a number of plugins involved in my website, and it all works kind of seamlessly. This is kind of where things get a little bit more complicated. If you ever explore this and I'm around, please feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to see what I can do. But you can click on Add New and search for the number of plugins or whatever you want to integrate. You can even search recommended and popular up here on these toolbars and install. It will show you what cannot be installed and what can be, and you can just see that the install buttons are to the top right of the plugin itself. So we're getting close here. It's almost 6 o'clock, so let me get back to this. Share WordPress. And it went all the way back. So yeah, I mentioned this before. WordPress themes definitely makes your website a lot nicer to look at. And I mentioned this extends functionality if you install plugins. Again, these will have to be done in either a paid subscription to WordPress.com, which I don't recommend. But if you have your own server and you install WordPress independently, go for it. So let's get into resources a little bit. These are essentially the three that I would start with. WordPress.org is the official documentation of WordPress, the organization, and Automatic. We do have the lynda.com tutorials, which they're very intensive and very thorough, rather. Definitely recommend it. Again, if you didn't catch my Instagram live session, lynda.com is completely free to use, so I definitely recommend checking that out. You can use it free, that is, with your library card. And for WordPress things especially, just check out that website, wpbeginner.com. So, Nithya, she is, let me just admit her. Hi, Nithya. Just wanted to mention we're wrapping up the presentation here, but you're free to watch the video later. But everyone, do you have any questions?
I have a question. This is Christian. I have a question.
Hi, Christian. Okay.
If I have an existing site, a web hosting site on GoDaddy, I can create a new site in WordPress and load that up into my existing GoDaddy, or do I need to use WordPress?
That's a really good question. Well, you can technically retrofit the website content into a WordPress installation, and so I'm not sure exactly. Like, did you want to get rid of your old website?
Yeah, I'm looking to upgrade my website, and I don't know if I need to just migrate everything over to WordPress or use WordPress to create it and then upload it into my existing domain on GoDaddy.
That's a very good question. Honestly, I think, please feel free to reach out to me at the Media Lab. I'd be more than happy to provide some kind of guidance because I've done this before. Yeah, I would actually install WordPress first onto GoDaddy and then kind of see how you can apply what your current website organization is or how things are configured in your current website and apply it to a theme in WordPress. And then from there, you kind of integrate all the dynamic features that are involved. So yeah. Please feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to see what I can do.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Thomas, Pete, do you have any questions?
No, I think I'm good. I really appreciate your presentation.
No problem.
I've hosted a WordPress site and I've participated in a WordPress site in the past, but I want to make sure that I had all my gaps filled in on this.
Sure.
And I like the lynda.com reference that you have in there. I'll go and research on that.
Okay, fantastic. Go ahead.
I built a site for somebody to use, and I want to be able to teach them how to use this. They weren't able to make tonight's presentation. Okay. So I'd like to use the video that you had from tonight as part of the teaching material.
Fantastic. I believe we'll be posting this to our YouTube channel too, so please feel free to reference it. And again, just like I'm telling Christian, this applies for everyone. Please feel free to reach out. I'm here to help patrons, and I really love what I do with technology. And again, I've been doing this for a long time. So please feel free to use me as a resource.
I'll give you a tip. You can actually host a whole WordPress site on a Raspberry Pi.
Oh, really? I don't doubt that.
It's not ridiculously slow.
Very good. thanks for sharing that. I definitely appreciate that. I haven't looked into Raspberry Pi too much, but I can definitely understand why. Fantastic. Thomas, do you have any questions? Okay, I guess we'll... Oh, how can we see the video again? You should be able to log into this link, and then you should be able to see the link of the video itself. And Nithya looks like she left, or no, she's here. Yeah, you can link back to this what you call it, Teams link, and it should be posted in a little bit. But again, I believe it will be on our YouTube channel because they want you know, some copies of the classes on our channel itself. So yeah, so let me go to the end here. Thank you very much. This is some feedback, or this is a feedback link if you're interested in providing some feedback. Nithya, please, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And we've got an email here, this medialab@lakeforestlibrary.org. I'm teaching this again on next Friday. Nithya, if you want to check that out, it's Friday at 1 o'clock, I think. And I may have a little bit of a different presentation, but essentially I'm going through the basics of WordPress again. Another class that we are having is an intro to Google Photos, which is taught by my colleague, Kristen. Again, you can make it a 30-minute appointment, virtual appointment, by visiting that link, just /techhelp from the lakeforestlibrary.org domain. Feel free to visit us on our website for Media Lab. We've got a lot of things going on. From classes to Instagram lives to Facebook lives. We, the two of us at Media Lab, we're not doing Facebook, but we are participating in the streams. So yes, add us on Facebook, add us on Instagram, and of course, check out the YouTube channel, and the username is that LFKREF. So with that said, thank you very much for this last hour, and yeah, if you have any questions, yeah, reach out, and yeah, take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Where is that?